everyone, my name is Rachel. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are here for self-care. We are here for good vibes. We are here to be happy. And one of the things that makes me happy is making reading vlogs. So I think that this vlog is going to center around more fantasy and fantasy romance, just like my previous vlog did. Well, my last vlog was for House of Flame and Shadow, and if you want to see that vlog, I'll link that up in the cards above. But the vlog before that was centered around fantasy romance, and I think we are still in that vibe. I am absolutely still in that mood. I also have just not been feeling the best mentally, mental health wise. So yeah, I'm just trying to do things and read things that make me happy. And at the moment, that's reading fantasy and fantasy romance. And as you saw in my last clip, that is also watching the Harry Potter movies. I have started rewatching all of them. I'm currently watching Prisoner of Azkaban. And what started this marathon is I read Beyond the Wand by Tom Felton. If you don't know, Tom Felton played Draco Malfoy in the Harry Potter films. And so listening to his memoir and him just talking about like all the behind the scenes things, talking about all the different actors that were involved in the movies, and talking about, like I said, behind the scenes stuff and like things like the set and the stories that these films tell. Like, I just needed to rewatch these movies. And yes, we can all agree that J.K. Rowling is a terrible person, but right now the Harry Potter films are the vibe that I need. So that is what's going on. I'm also in the middle of two things. Currently I am reading One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. This is book one in the Shepherd King duet. So it's just two books. We love a short series. This is a gothic fantasy series that also definitely has a romance. So because I don't want to give too much away, and I don't quite know how to do that myself, I'm just gonna read the synopsis on the back. It says, Elspeth needs a monster. The monster might be her. Elspeth Spindle needs more than luck to stay safe in the eerie, mist-locked kingdom of Blunder. She needs a monster. She calls him the Nightmare, an ancient mercurial spirit trapped in her head. He protects her, he keeps her secrets, but nothing comes free, especially magic. When Elspeth meets a mysterious highwayman on the forest road, her life takes a drastic turn. Thrust into a world of shadow and deception, she joins a dangerous quest to cure Blunder of the dark magic infecting it. Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself, so there it is. I was influenced to pick this up ASAP because of Tori from Novel Life. She recently made a video where she was just raving and raving about this duet, and it just sounded like the perfect gothic fantasy vibe. And it really is. Like, the atmosphere, the setting of this is truly top tier. Truly chef's kiss. Definitely one of my favorite things about this book so far. Like, I'm just vibing with this book. I'm really enjoying that the magic system is very simple. It's very easy to follow. You don't have to think too much about it. This is a very small, contained world. It just takes place in this small kingdom of Blunder. And like I mentioned, there is this mist that definitely gives me vibes of the Grisha-verse from Leigh Bardugo, because this mist has been spreading year after year, and it's very harmful to people. If you spend too much time in the mist, you'll either like go crazy or you'll just die. So yeah, in that way, it's definitely giving some slight Grisha-verse vibes, but I'm really enjoying it. Elspeth is a cool character to follow. I like her a lot, and there are romantic vibes between her and this guy, Raven, who is the mysterious highwayman that was mentioned in the synopsis. I'm really liking the vibe between them. The magic system is also pretty unique. There are these cards called Providence cards. They're basically tarot cards. Like, that's what I think they look like. And there are like 12 different kinds of Providence cards that have 12 different kinds of magic. Anyone can wield these cards, but they are primarily owned by members of like the aristocracy and the royal family in this kingdom. I could definitely see this being a 5-star. It just depends how the last like 40% of this goes, because I'm just about 60% of the way through. Yeah, I definitely want to see some more development with the romance. Just, you know, more plot, more everything. But it definitely could be a 5-star. Very, very excited about this. Thank you so much, Tori, for raving about this, because I don't think I would have picked this up as soon as I did had it not been for you. And then other things I want to read really soon. I really need to read Days of Blood and Starlight by Laini Taylor. This is book 2 in her Daughter Smoke and Bone series. I read book 1 back in December. It is well past time that I pick up this book. I loved book 1. I gave it 5 stars. Laini Taylor's writing is just exquisite. It's just incredible. I could go on and on. So it's definitely time that I read this. I have the audiobook for this one borrowed off of Hoopla. Yeah, very looking forward to seeing how this series continues. I'll get into the plot of this series when I actually pick this up. Also, I have some rereads that I would love to do soon, because like I said, I'm here for good vibes. I'm here for self-care. To me, self-care is rereading your favorite books or rereading comfort reads, you know what I mean? So one of them is definitely Clockwork Princess. It is time that I reread this 3rd and final book of the trilogy. I reread books 1 and 2 recently. I know I'm gonna cry rereading this. I cried the first time I read it. Yeah. But this is hands down my favorite series from the Shadowhunter Chronicles and from Cassandra Clare, and this is by far my favorite book of the trilogy. Another series that I think I might just jump into a reread of is The Diviners by Libba Bray. I've only read this series once, and it's absolutely one of my favorite series of all time. There's 4 books. This is a YA paranormal science fiction series that takes place in the 1920s, and we're following a lot of different characters, and the cast of characters in this is amazing. The writing is top-notch. The vibes, the 1920 vibes are there. And the audiobooks, oh my God, truly next level. I remember the narrator was January Lavoie, and she's just an incredible narrator. So I might just go ahead and borrow this audiobook soon and have a good time, you know? So yeah, that's gonna be it for this first update. I've been talking for way too long. This week is going to be very long, because I had a very long day today. I'm gonna have a really long day tomorrow, which is not the norm. Usually Tuesdays are like a light day for me work-wise, but it's gonna be a very long day. Wednesday is gonna be a very long day, and then hopefully Thursday, I can lighten up my workload and then have an actual weekend. So yeah. All right, I will go watch the rest of Prisoner of Azkaban, and I will talk to you guys later. Guys, it has been a few days since I've done a sit down update. I just thought I would include a few random clips from the last few days of me doing my self-care, you know, watching some good movies, eating some good food, and reading some books. So I do have a reading update for you guys, and then I also have a little book haul over here that I'm very excited to share with you all. So first of all, I finished One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig like a couple days ago at this point. Finally finished a book this week. I feel like the last month or so I've only been able to finish like maybe 1 book a week, maybe 2 books a week, because I have a full-time job now, so I just don't have nearly as much time to read. But also, to be fair, I've been picking up all these chunky fantasy and fantasy romance books, so that could also be affecting how many books I'm finishing. But anyways, yes, I finished this. I gave it 5 stars. Oh my god, this was so good. I think this is a really good new adult fantasy with a romance to read if you're maybe just getting into fantasies, because first of all, it's a very small world. We're just dealing with this small kingdom of Blunder in this series, at least in this first book. So it's not like you have to try to comprehend like a huge world and refer to a map and all of those things. The magic system is very easy to understand. It's these different Providence cards. Each type of card has a different power. I really enjoyed this like dark and twisted setting and magic that's going on, because we have Elspeth, our main character. She has this nightmare, this dark magical being that lives in her mind. And I just thought that that aspect of the plot was really cool. I really enjoy this romance between Raven, who is the captain of the guard. He's like the captain of these special soldiers for the king known as the Destriers. And then Elspeth, like I said, our main character. I really enjoy this romance. Is it the most amazing romance I've ever read in a fantasy novel? No, but I still really enjoyed it. There's like a little bit of a fake courting aspect, and then later on in this book, Raven said something like, "It was never pretend for me." Like, yes, Raven. Also, there was this scene where Elspeth is finally like opening up to Raven about this being that lives in her mind. And like she starts crying, and he kneels at her feet and cups her face with his hand and wipes her tears. Like, I love that scene so much. I know that those kind of scenes are in a lot of romance novels and a lot of fantasy novels, obviously, but for some reason, that scene just struck me and I really loved it. I mean, can we tell that I'm affection starved? Clearly. But yeah, I would also recommend this if you prefer lower heat romances. There is one sex scene in this book, but it's not super graphic or explicit. Like, you know what's going on, but the language that's used just isn't as explicit as I've read in other romance novels. So all that to say, I loved this. Like, the vibes are just there. Just immaculate. I love gothic stories. I of course love fantasy. I of course love romance. And so you put all those things together and it is a recipe for success. I also really enjoy Rachel Gillig's writing. So very much looking forward to reading book 2. I started these other 2 books as well. I started Clockwork Princess, my reread of this yesterday. I started listening to the audiobook while driving to and from work. This is book 3 in the Infernal Devices series. If you've read this series, something that struck me while reading the first couple chapters of this today is Benedict Lightwood. If you've read this series, you might recall that character, and I just couldn't help but think of this when I thought of Benedict Lightwood. And that's all I'm gonna say on that matter. But yeah, I am on page, let's see, 103, that's chapter 5. This book is about like 568 pages. This is the finale of the Infernal Devices series. This pretty much is my favorite Cassandra Clare book. I am ready for the pain. I am ready for the emotional trauma that this love triangle serves. And yeah, so having a good time with this reread. And then I went ahead and started Days of Blood and Starlight by Laini Taylor. This is book 2 in her Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy. You may have also heard of Laini Taylor because she wrote the Strange the Dreamer duology. I read that duology some years back. I kind of wish that I would have started my Laini Taylor journey with this series, just because I feel that it's easier to get into. This one is more of an urban fantasy. It's based both in our world and the real world, as well as another world, whereas The Stranger the Dreamer duology is just a high fantasy that's based in another world. Whereas Strange the Dreamer is just a high fantasy that takes place in another world. And I remember reading that first book. It took me like at least 100 pages to get into it and to like really understand what was going on and to start enjoying it. Whereas with this series, with book one, like I was enjoying it from page one. It's a lot easier to understand, a lot more accessible in that way. But yeah, this is a crazy, epic, and just really cool trilogy that centers around this romance between an angel and a demon, basically, and this war that has been going on for like 1,000 years between the angels and the demon creatures known as chimeras. It's just so cool. I'm on page 156. That is chapter 32. Very much enjoying this book pretty much just as much as I was enjoying book one. The plot is going in directions that I could not have guessed. Laini Taylor definitely is keeping me on my toes, and the writing is just amazing. I mean, wow. The skill that Laini Taylor has, I just feel like not many writers can compare to her writing, you know? And I love these new covers. These covers were designed for, I believe, the 10th anniversary of maybe book one. Very interested to see how the romance is going to pick back up in this book, because in like a lot of fantasy series now, our two main characters are separated for some time. I feel like that's not really a spoiler, because like I said, that happens in like every fantasy series, I feel like. But yeah, just really looking forward to seeing like how this plot keeps changing and developing, and it's just so good. Okay, so I do have a little bit of a book haul to share with you guys. I bought some books because, you know what? Buying books makes me happy. First up, I bought The Wrath in the Dawn by Renee Ahdieh. First of all, last I checked when I bought this book a few days ago, the paperback was like $7 on Amazon. So if you're interested in buying this book, go check Amazon, because that is an insanely good price for, you know, a brand new paperback. So I was influenced to buy this by Rachel from Raven Haired Reader. I feel like I've brought up Rachel and her channel in so many of my videos recently, but I am just obsessed with her and her content. Literally, every time she posts a video, I drop what I'm doing and I have to immediately watch it. Don't ask me why. I don't know. I'm just addicted to her and her content. Absolutely obsessed. But I mean, I have so many friends that make bookish content, and I make a point to watch their videos as well. But I don't know, for some reason when she posts, I have to immediately watch her videos. Her vlogs in particular, and Lachlan's vlogs, oh my god, they are my favorite at the moment. But anyways, she recently did a vlog where it was like Instagram chooses what I read. And so she was putting up polls on her Instagram stories where her followers could choose between two books. And so one of the books that ended up getting chosen was The Wrath in the Dawn. I have heard this book mentioned before on BookTube. I've heard people talk about Renee Ahdieh in general. I know that she's also written that series called like The Beautiful or something, which I'm also intrigued about. This is a YA fantasy that I believe is like Middle Eastern based, just looking at like the names we have going on and the way that Rachel talked about the setting. So we have our main character Scheherazade, I think that's how her name is pronounced, and then we have Khalid. So Khalid, I think he's like the king or something like the king of this area, of this kingdom, and every night he takes a new wife only to have her killed by sunrise. And so I think Scheherazade then volunteers herself to be his next bride because she's trying to get revenge against him because one of her best friends was one of his brides and got killed. And so, I mean, this is like the ultimate enemies to lovers, right? Because Khalid always kills his bride, so he is set on killing her, and then she is set on killing him for revenge, yet they don't kill each other. They fall in love with each other. So I am very intrigued. So I think I'm gonna pick this up soon because it just sounds so good, and I love me some YA fantasy romance, you know? Then I got this special edition of The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. This is the sleeve that it came in. If you don't know, now you know that the Cruel Prince series, the trilogy, is probably one of my top favorite series of all time. I am like absolutely obsessed with Jude and Cardan and with this world and everything. So when I saw the special edition when I was browsing on Amazon, I was like, I need that. So let us look at this book together. So it's black velvet, and then there's all these designs on the naked hardback. Isn't that insane? And then black sprayed edges, like, excuse me? Like, this is actually stunning. Oh my God, the end pages. Ugh, obsessed, obsessed. I have now read this series twice, but I feel like I might need to reread this again soon. Like, it is so good. It is top tier. So this is a YA fantasy. However, the romance that is featured in this between Jude and Cardan is like truly the blueprint for enemies to lovers, hate to love. It is immaculate. The vibes are immaculate, and this world is just amazing. I know that the next book in this series, in this world, I think it's called The Prisoner's Throne, that is set to come out, oh, like really soon, on Tuesday, I think? Yeah, today's the 2nd, and I think it's coming out on the 5th, and I pre-ordered a copy, so I'm gonna be getting that soon, and I'm really, really excited about it. That's gonna be book 2 in like a companion duet to this original trilogy, so very, very excited. And I also got Throne of the Fallen by Carrie Maniscalco. So I hadn't planned on picking up any more Carrie Maniscalco after reading her. I read her entire Stalking Jack the Ripper series. I liked it, I didn't love it. The best part of that series is Thomas Cresswell, who is the love interest for the main character of that series. I read Kingdom of the Wicked, the first book in that series. I liked it, didn't love it. But Carrie Maniscalco has just been, for the most part, a very meh author for me, and so I kind of gave up on reading her books. But then Chandler from Chandler Ainsley, I have once again been influenced. She was raving about this book in a recent vlog that she did where she was trying to find the answer of like, what is romantasy? What is fantasy romance, you know? And so this is one of the books that she read for that vlog. And this is an adult fantasy romance, which I'm pretty sure this is Carrie Maniscalco's first adult release. Now I know that my girl Rachel hated this book. So for that reason too, I wasn't planning on reading this, but Chandler was just raving and raving about this, and it sounded so good because it is a fantasy romance, but it also takes place either in Regency London or a place and time very much like Regency London. So in that way, it feels like a historical romance with fantasy vibes, of course, and like it just sounded so, so good. So I will be reading this at some point. Also, this cover is beautiful. Absolutely, absolutely stunning. And it's giving like Bridgerton vibes with these like lavender flowers. So we shall see. Hopefully I enjoy it just as much as Chandler did. And then last but not least, I decided to pick up Happy Place by Emily Henry. I am deciding to give Emily Henry a second chance. I read Beach Read all the way back in like 2020 when it came out, and it was just okay. So I have not read any of her books since, but so many people have been raving about this book in particular, and it was on a lot of my friends' like top books of the year lists. And so I'm very intrigued now. And there is a second chance romance in this, but I think Emily Henry's books are more fiction novels than romance novels. Like, they might have romances in them, but I feel like her books focus more on like characters than like the romance, if that makes sense. So I don't know, I'm intrigued. I'll probably pick this up soon because my hold for the audiobook is coming in really soon for my Libby app. So yeah, that's my little book haul. With that being said, I'm gonna go watch the second half of Goblet of Fire because I watched the first half last night. I'll probably update you guys, if not tomorrow, maybe Sunday. And then I'm so excited because I get an extra long weekend because I don't have to work this Monday. So that's exciting. So yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. So it's been a few days since I updated you guys because I have finished 2 books and I just started a new book today. So these are the books that I need to update you guys on. I am not doing great mentally. I was doing better a few days ago, like when I did my first update for this vlog, and I was just talking about doing all the self-care, all that good stuff. I was relatively happy, I feel like, you know, like the self-care was working, and I just feel like, yeah, I'm just not great mentally. And truly I haven't been great mentally in a long time. Like the last time I can recall being like truly happy was back in December when I took a trip to New York with my best friends. Since then, like, I don't know, I'm just kind of living my life, working. I have a full-time job, which I enjoy my job. I have no problem with my job, but I definitely think I'm still adjusting to working full-time because I've never worked full-time before. I've had part-time jobs since I started working when I was a lot younger. So it's just, I really feel like I'm still adjusting to the lack of free time that I now have. Though I did have the day off today, which was really nice. This week is a little bit weird work-wise. There's just like different things going on at the studio that I work at. So it's not like a normal work week for me. So I did have today off, but I'm working the rest of the week and Saturday and Sunday. So yeah, but I have been watching the Harry Potter films, as you guys saw in my last B-roll clips. I did realize that I think I've only watched Order of the Phoenix maybe like twice all the way through. That is a movie I have not watched very much. I also have not watched Half-Blood Prince very many times all the way through. So I think I'm gonna start that rewatch tonight. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to give you guys an update about how I'm doing, because I feel like that's what this vlog is kind of centering around, is self-care, mental health. So yeah, I'm not doing too great, but at the same time, I also realize that I have many blessings in my life. I am very lucky in the things that I have. So I also feel weird, like, complaining to you guys about how I'm feeling, but I don't know. Anyways, I'm just feeling weird and I don't know what to do about it, but let's talk about books, because books do make me happy. So I did read the entirety of Days of Blood and Starlight by Laini Taylor. I don't think I did any updates while I was reading this. I think my last update was before I started this. So this is book 2 and The Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy by Laini Taylor. I read book 1 back in December, absolutely adored it. This book I ended up giving 4 stars. I definitely did not love this nearly as much as book 1. Mainly because the romance between Karou and Akiva is pretty much non-existent in this book. And that definitely frustrated me at times. I understand why, but I was definitely frustrated at times because Laini Taylor, I feel like she writes romance so beautifully, and their romance in book 1 was just so stunning and beautiful. And so it definitely made me sad and made me frustrated that it's, like I said, like non-existent in this book. And I will say, in her author's note, she talks about how she was kind of frustrated when she was writing this book, because she said, "Here I was ready to write another romantic book full of whimsical magic and puppet shows and cathedral rooftops, only to confront the reality that I'd set myself up to write a war book." So, I mean, that's definitely what this book is centering around, is this war that's been going on for 1,000 years between angels and demons. So it was good. Like, the fantasy elements in this series are out of this world. They're unreal. She is telling such a cool story in this series for sure. But yeah, the lack of romance made me kind of sad. However, I will say the very end of this is making me very excited to read the third and final book. I feel like the setup that we got at the end of this book was just so cool and epic and kind of terrifying. So I can't wait to see what happens in the third book. And I feel like the ending lent itself to Karou and Akiva's romance picking back up in that next book. So we will just have to see. I'll probably pick up that third book in the next couple of months. I don't plan on picking it up anytime in the near future, but I definitely will be finishing this series. I also finished my reread of Clockwork Princess last night. This is the third and final book in Cassandra Clare's Infernal Devices trilogy. I know I've talked about this trilogy probably in my last update because I had started my reread in my last update. Oh man, this book, guys, whoo, man. This is one of the few books that I've read by Cassandra Clare that I've given 5 stars. I truly feel like it is a damn near perfect book. The way that the love triangle is written between Will, Jem, and Tessa is immaculate. So heart-wrenching though, very heartbreaking, but also very beautiful. And the ending is like the most bittersweet ending of all time. Like, this epilogue should go down in history as being like one of the most amazing and beautiful and heart-wrenching epilogues ever. Oh my God. Like, I cannot recommend this trilogy enough. I think I've said this before. You could definitely just read this trilogy on its own. I don't feel like you absolutely have to delve into her entire Shadowhunter Chronicles universe if you don't want to. This series definitely feels a bit more new adult than like the Mortal Instruments, not because there's like explicit sex scenes or anything like that. It's just like these characters feel a bit older. They're definitely more mature. This is taking place in 1878 in London. It definitely has like a historical romancy type vibe. It also has a steampunk vibe, which is so cool because there are like these mechanical clockwork creatures that the villain of this series is building, and they're terrifying but also so cool to read about. So yeah, like, I cannot recommend this enough if you're looking for, you know, an urban fantasy with a historical vibe with just an incredibly written love triangle. I could go on. I could go on and on and on about this book like that Lady Gaga meme. I truly could go on and on and on about this book. It's just like absolutely incredible, and definitely was in my feels last night rereading the last 100 pages or so of that. Then today I started Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig. This is the second and final book in the, what is this even called? I don't know, but book 1 was One Dark Window. I read that, you know, a few days ago. And so I was very excited when I saw that my loan for the audiobook for this came through my Libby app. And so I flew through the first like 100 pages. I'm on page 107, that's chapter 16. Oh man, the vibe of this book, of the series, is just immaculate. Oh my God, it's like so eerie and twisted and dark. I feel like there's an argument to be made that there are some slight horror elements to the series as well. I think that's very common with Gothic stories. I feel like Gothic and horror slash thriller kind of go hand in hand, but yet it also has like a whimsical fairy tale feeling to it. Like on the one hand, it's not the most unique series I've ever read, but yet there is a unique vibe to this series. I don't even know if that makes any sense, but yeah, I am just vibing with the story. I love that this book, we're getting more POVs. Book 1 was just in Elspeth's POV, whereas this book, we're getting Raven's POV, who's her love interest. We're also getting Elm, and I think we're getting somebody else's POV, right? Or is it just the 3 of them? But Elm is Raven's cousin, and he is a prince of this kingdom. I really like his story. There is definitely a romance brewing between Elm and Ione. Ione is Elspeth's cousin, and I definitely got a vibe between the two of them in book 1. So I'm very happy to see that that romance seems to be developing in this book. So I'm just very intrigued to see how this book is going to end. Especially with how book 1 ended. It definitely was kind of a sad, dark ending, especially for Elspeth, our main character. So yeah, very, very excited about that. Then I'm really excited. I feel like I've said that word so many times in this update, but my loan for the audiobook for Bride by Ali Hazelwood just came in from my Libby app. Oh my God. I cannot wait to read this book. We have a paranormal romance from Ali Hazelwood. Oh my God, I am a huge fan of Ali Hazelwood. I have given all of her books 5 stars, except for her novellas. Her novellas, they were okay. They weren't great. But all of her full-length novels, I've given 5 stars. But those are all contemporary romances, where this is a paranormal romance. And we have Misery. She is the daughter of a powerful vampire councilman. She is put into an arranged marriage with, ooh, what's his name? Lo. He is the alpha of a werewolf clan. So we've got an arranged marriage between a vampire and a werewolf. I am so here for that vibe. Oh my God, this sounds amazing. Also, this cover is beautiful. I don't know how much you'll be able to tell, but there's like foiling, like the moon is like super shiny, and like details in her hair and like his eyes. Like that is so beautiful. I think that's gonna be it for this update. I think I'm gonna go ahead and start Half-Blood Prince and then read more of this before going to bed tonight. Hey besties. Why did I say that? I don't know. I'm trying different greetings because I feel like in my vlogs, I start every clip with, all right, here's a reading update, or whatever I'm gonna talk about. So we're trying things. I don't know if that was cringy or not, me saying, hey besties. Is that like a Gen Z thing? Is me being a millennial saying that cringy? Let me know. But I am stressed. I really wanted this vlog to be a vibe, to be a self-care, happy, cozy vibe. And it started off that way. And the days that have been going on since I started this vlog, I think this vlog has been going on for over a week at this point. Well over a week, yeah. The more stress I've been getting. There is just a lot going on for me this week, like both work-wise and otherwise. Like I just sat here in my living room for, I swear, yeah, like the last 4 hours. Yeah. Creating choreography for my classes at the studio that I work at. I'm putting together 3 completely different routines for our big showcase in June. So I just spent the last few hours creating choreography for that. Also, my sister and brother-in-law are coming to stay with me on Wednesday for like the next 10 days. And it always stresses me out when they come to stay with me. I'm not gonna like get into why. I don't need to put anybody on blast on my channel, but it always stresses me out. And then I have like this like volunteer thing that I'm doing that has been stressing me out, and that's annoying because you know what? I'm not getting paid for it. At least with work, I'm getting paid for stressful things, for doing stressful things, and anyways. But since I last talked to you guys, you know, I'm still trying to do the self-care thing. I watched Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, I think, since the last time I talked to you guys. And I think that's my least favorite Harry Potter film. It's one of my favorite books of the series, but the movie, I don't vibe with the movie. And one of the things in particular that annoys me about that movie is how, like, dark and gray toned it is the whole time. And there's one scene that's like literally in black and white, and like, that just annoys me. It annoys me how like we've gotten to a point in cinema where like everything is just so gray. Everything is just so dark, and like, where is the color? Where is the Technicolor, you know? But anyways, so I might watch the last 2 films in the next couple of days before my sister and brother-in-law get here. We'll see if that happens. But also, I finished late last night Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig. I am giving this 5 stars. Oh my god, this was so good. What a great conclusion to this gothic fantasy duet. I love how the romance with Ione and Elm turned out. It definitely has a different vibe from Raven and Elspeth's romance that we got in book 1. I love how the non-romance plot concluded and was resolved, like the fantastical plot having to do with this mist, and like this fever that is infecting people and all of that. Like, that was just really cool, really well done. I think I might have enjoyed this book actually a little bit more than book 1. I feel like I found the pacing of this one to be just like a little bit quicker. I feel like I was just speeding through pages quicker than with book 1, but I loved book 1 as well. So yeah, this duet for me is a win. I highly recommend it. I think this is a really great gothic fantasy series that has romances, but this is not a fantasy romance series. The fantastical elements are definitely in the spotlight, and the romances definitely take a back seat. I feel like this would be a good duet to read if you're dipping your toe into fantasy romance, or like dipping your toe into reading stories that focus on romance in general, if that makes sense. So glad that I read this. So glad that I saw Tori raving about this duet, because I don't think I would have picked this up as soon as I did without her recommendation. So good. Then today I started the audiobook for Bride by Ali Hazelwood. I'm literally like 45 minutes into the audiobook. I have not had like any time to read today. Another reason why I'm feeling stressed right now is that I didn't get a weekend off. I worked all weekend, so sucks for me. But yeah, so I've just like listened to the first 45 minutes of this audiobook, like driving to and from work today. I'm hoping to read a little bit more. It's 2 a.m. right now, and I gotta get up at about like 10. So I might read just like a chapter or 2 of this. I'm already loving this. Oh my god. Ali Hazelwood writing a paranormal romance is everything. I am such a sucker for Ali Hazelwood's writing style and her vibe. It's just like everything. And I feel like every book of hers has gotten better and better. Like, my personal favorite book of hers is Love Theoretically, which is her most recent release before this one. So we'll see if this ends up being my new fave of hers. But this one is an arranged marriage between Misery, who is a vampire, and Lo, who is the alpha of a werewolf pack. And so the werewolves and the vampires arrange this marriage between Misery and Lo to hopefully bring peace between these 2 species. The prologue was their arranged marriage ceremony, and I'm already obsessed. And then chapter 1, I think, went back in time like 6 months or 6 weeks, I think, leading up to the ceremony. So yeah, like, I'm already into this, and I love this cover so much. I am ready for a paranormal romance. I think this is going to be a good palette cleanser from all of the fantasy and fantasy romance that I've been reading. So yeah, I'll keep you updated. I think I'm going to do maybe like 1 or 2 more updates. I think I'm going to end this vlog with finishing this book. So maybe I'll talk to you guys on Tuesday. We will just have to see. All right, hello, beautiful besties. We are here for my final update for this cozy self-care reading vlog, and that is going to be about Bride by Ali Hazelwood. And I really enjoyed this. You know, this is Ali Hazelwood's first paranormal romance, and I think that she did a really great job. This world was actually kind of unique. The dynamics between vampires, werewolves, and humans, I thought that was really cool. I really enjoyed this romance. I thought it was really solid. Not my favorite of Ali Hazelwood's. I did really enjoy it, but for some reason this romance just didn't hit me as hard as some of her other books. I ended up giving this 4 stars, and I've given all of her other full-length novels 5 stars. So, I mean, there were some points, like during the steamy scenes and like the very romantic scenes, where I was getting a 5-star feeling, but for most of the book, it was just a 4-star. So I'm kind of teetering between like a 4 and a 4.5, but just know that I definitely do recommend it. I think that this could be a really good paranormal romance to read. If you're just getting into that subgenre, I really like how this world was set up. Like I said, it had kind of a unique feel to it, and it was very easy to understand. And in terms of like the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, by the way, the only bonus content that you get is this bonus essay that she wrote about the Psy Changeling series by Nalini Singh. She says, if you're not reading the Psy Changeling series by Nalini Singh, what are you even doing with your life? And so, I mean, it was cute, but I definitely expected more from an exclusive edition, you know? I have tried the Psy Changeling series, and unfortunately I didn't love it. Like, I read the first 3 books. Books 1 and 2 I gave 4 stars, and then book 3, which is like everybody's favorite book, I gave like 3 stars. I didn't love it, and so I never really continued on with that series, but I still would recommend that you try that series out. Once again, if you're getting into paranormal romance, but it just didn't really work for me. I am tempted to try her Angel paranormal romance series at some point, because like people love Nalini Singh, and I want to see what the hype is about. But yeah, overall, really enjoyed this. Solid 4-star book. Yeah, that's gonna be it for this vlog. I definitely read some really great books while filming this. Really loved the One Dark Window, Two Twisted Crowns duet. That was probably the highlight of this vlog for me. And then of course rewatching all the Harry Potter films. I have not rewatched Deathly Hallows, either part 1 or part 2 yet, but I plan on doing so soon for sure. And I definitely think I'm gonna keep these vlogs coming, because I really do enjoy filming them, but I think I'm just gonna film them when I'm in the mood, you know, to vlog and document my reading experience. So yeah, also I know that I have not posted a video in a little while. I promise that videos are coming. I have ideas. I just need to like solidify those ideas and actually take the time to sit down and film them and then edit them, of course. If you got this far in the video, first of all, thank you so much for watching. But also, if you made it this far in this video, please leave the crescent moon emoji in your comment. I would love to see that. And I would also love it if you guys would leave a comment if you want to discuss any of the books that I brought up in this video. If you want to tell me about books that you've been reading recently that you have really been loving. And with all that being said, I would love it if you would leave a like and subscribe. And I thank you so much in advance if you do. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!